don't know. I think we find the sneakiest ways to beat up on ourselves. And I think that's where it's like finding the compassion within doing this work within yourself and also externally, right? Like, how much less fighting would there be if we could just show up and flipping compassion? It's hard.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's one of the hardest things we can do.
I think about how mean I can be to myself, and I think, I can't even be nice to myself. How the fuck am I supposed to be nice to, to the world?
Have you ever noticed how resisting pain and suffering many times leads to greater misery? On today's episode of That's a Great Point, we're talking about how surrendering to what is can many times stop the struggling. You know those dark periods in life when you just feel like throwing up your hands and saying, I give up? Many times those can be the most liberating moments of our life. We cover a wide variety of topics today, including attachment to suffering as a way to make our ego feel important, why, as parents, our children may not appreciate us, letting go of the need to be right and the cost of always being right, working towards a better future while giving up the need for things to be different right now, and N.U.TS, negative unconscious thoughts. Don't get teabagged. Alina spent this time with her son, so it's just Michelle and I today. Stay tuned for a great conversation. As always, if you find our content helpful, please share it with somebody you love. That's how you can support the show. Thanks for playing along. Enjoy. Welcome to That's a Great Point, the attitude adjustment for your soul, where co-hosts Alina Doran, Michelle Albers, and Lee Smart discuss deep topics around a life well lived. Let's start the show.
All right, what else did I forget?
Oh, we got record, we got pen, we got drinks.
I'm pinned. I got my coffee. Life is good. Life is good, my friend. Life is good. We're missing
cocktails.
And so be it. No cocktails. I don't have an Irish coffee this morning. Just coffee.
We should.
I said that like it's a normal thing. Well, this morning I don't have an Irish coffee, but most mornings. Not true. That's not how I roll. I would not do well in life if that
Where's
was
my whiskey?
No, thank you. No, thank you.
It might make our show a little bit more lively, though, wouldn't it?
Oh, yes, and I'm not sure that's a great idea.
It might have a little bit more dynamic range anyway. Go from super excited to super depressed and back in seconds flat.
Yeah, I was thinking more like no filter, which I already don't have a filter. And then when you take all of them away, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's not like I hide it, but also there is just some filterage that is lovely. Like, you don't need to hear all the things that go on in my brain. Because it goes fast all the time. Like, just some things are better left unsaid. We'll just leave it there.
Yeah. I debate on whether or not I want to enhance my filters a little bit more or not. Because most of the time I just say what I'm thinking, and that seems to upset people sometimes.
Sometimes when I'm yelling at people, they don't like it.
Oh, no, for me, it's just challenging whatever current perspective they hold.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great. I just think delivery matters on that stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, there's a mastery that comes with a life experience of living unfiltered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
I also think people aren't
definitely
used to that.
Whenever you interrupt somebody's deeply held beliefs in a way that makes them start to think, they go, "Oh, I don't like this. This is uncomfortable. I don't want to be here." And that, yeah.
You just froze your back.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got it on my end.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, okay. I only said the most important thing I'm going to say all day, so. But it's gone.
Damn it. I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
Such is life. I'll have to find it somewhere else, I guess. Pull it out of the ethers somewhere.
Yeah.
If I was meant to receive that message, it'll come back.
Mm,
If our
yeah.
listeners were meant to receive it, it'll happen on their end.
So you and I had a cool conversation the other day.
We did.
I've been reading, so I need to correct myself from last week. I said Eckhart Tolle. I knew that he had gone to school in Cambridge in England, but he was born German, so his name is actually pronounced Eckhart Tolle. So apparently you put an A instead of an O, pronounce it as an A instead of the O that it is written as. I'm a little bit ignorant on German. But anyway, the whole point of this book, A New Earth, is that we're responsible for our own suffering.
Mm.
We cause our own suffering thanks to being attached to the way things should be, or the way we think they need to be, or being attached to I can't be with what is. A
Mhm.
lot of it's so ego driven. I think the whole first part of the book is how the ego keeps us stuck in negative emotion and suffering. And it does it because it wants to feel important. It wants to feel that our own personal egos want to feel like it's important, that it matters. And in doing so, many times we can get stuck in suffering just because I matter because I suffer.
And here we go. This is my world. This
Right?
is this is what changed my whole world.
Hmm.
Was I mean this I started hearing all of those types of things when I started my Thai massage training. And then when you started talking about the book, I'm like, "Oh, this is my jam." This
Hmm.
changed my whole life
Hmm.
to switch my perspective of all of those things that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I have it mastered, but I'm saying my life is a hell of a lot easier now that I'm dancing in that realm.
Hmm. Hmm.
With the concepts of, oh, wait, I don't really have a lot of control. And I don't actually, that's what's causing my suffering. And I'm choosing some of this, maybe not all of it, but I'm definitely amplifying the suffering with how I'm thinking about it, how I'm engaging with it, how I'm attaching to it, how I'm trying to control it all.
Yeah. Yeah, it's those attachments to thoughts that or not even knowing that our thoughts may or may not be the truth of things. A lot
Hmm.
of times when we have a thought, we automatically accept it to be the truth just based on, past patterns. This was true in the past in this particular instance. Therefore, it's going to be true in all instances. Can keep us stuck in suffering all the time. Um, I'm trying to think of a specific example of how it shows up um, whenever we get stuck in a thought, and that thought then just perpetuates continual misery.
I don't necessarily have a specific example off the top of my head, but when you said that, what I think about is like we can watch our thoughts.
Mhm,
Like they're going to happen whether we make them happen or not. They
mhm,
just are. And
mhm,
I think that distinction for me was huge because it's like I was attaching to many of my thoughts,
yeah,
like hanging on to them and like you said, claiming them as truths. And it's like habit, it's habitual. Like there's certain truths that make us feel some kind of way that even if it's uncomfortable, it's known, so it feels safe.
mhm,
And I think that's the part for me. It's like I had so many thoughts of, you know, like I'm misunderstood is an example for me, right? Like they don't get it, they'll never understand me, and to me that translated to meaning I'm not loved or cared about. Because why if you don't care enough to understand how I'm feeling, for me it was more about feelings than my point of view. I'm a live and let live kind of human, but my feelings matter to me. So it was like this weird habit of like believing that that was true without even considering that it might not be in any given instant because it's not true across the board. It's just true in some moments.
mhm, mhm,
But when it comes in all the time, and then that's something that helps you stay where you are, which is feels safer than going somewhere new.
mhm.
Tricky.
I thought of one. You have to work hard to succeed,
Yeah.
and how that can lead into if I'm not working hard, then it doesn't matter.
Mm.
Right. And the difference between, somebody who's really good at something, somebody who's an expert at something, the work becomes significantly easier, but they get better results than somebody who is unexperienced. But then they beat themselves up because it didn't feel hard. So they're stuck in, I have to work hard. So it just perpetuates this never ending grind cycle of, I just have to keep, it has to feel hard for it to be worth it. I remember whenever I had that realization, like, no, I can do this the easy way and get better results than the vast majority of people would get. Why am I working so goddamn hard?
Right.
So I just perpetuated my own suffering because I felt like it needed to feel hard for it to be worth it.
Yeah, and being attached to it being hard for it to mean anything at all.
Nope.
I don't know, I feel like the attachment makes it hard to just like pause and celebrate the ease,
Mm-hmm.
because that's not what we know or what we knew. I don't know. I feel like that whole, to me, I just keep thinking about change and the unknown and how that so often is what that fear of that is what keeps people stuck in those attachments to certain things being true, because it's how they've always felt either loved or unloved. Like for me, it was like not being understood or being misunderstood made me feel unlovable. And for you, it not being hard then meant the work wasn't worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
I think everybody has their own version of that, and versions. I believe there's probably many. I don't think we have just one thing like that. I think we have most things like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's all kinds of examples. I just thought of another one, like being attached to, I want to be a great parent. And then whenever our children end up growing up and becoming their own people, they don't do exactly like we want them to do, then it's a slight upon us. Like, I was a bad parent. Oh no. Like, how many parents have you met that have had children who ended up with severe addictions, and the parents continuously trying to control. It doesn't even have to be addictions. It could be like, I want them to be a doctor. I want them to be a sports player. And they get so attached to that vision that they hold in their head of what what their kid is supposed to be, and then they can't let it go. And then if their kid doesn't become that, it's a slight against their own ego. I'm a terrible parent because my kid didn't do this. These preconceived notions of what I had, I thought it meant to be successful, or what I thought it meant to be a great person, or whatever it is.
Well, and I think, I mean, you want to open the door on parenting. I could like, this is like one of my favorite rabbit holes. I mean, I used to teach
Hmm.
preschool, but I think, you said I want to be a great parent. And I think most parents say and think that.
Hmm.
And I think it's missing part of the sentence, which is like, I want to be a great parent for my kid or for my children.
Hmm.
Because what is being a great parent? Most people, when they say that, that's all ego. It's all about them. Your children are their own humans. And so many times we're like, oh no, my kid failed. That means I failed. Or, oh no, I just had this conversation not that long ago. It was like they were talking about, feeling some kind of way about like choices their kid was making, is making. And I was like, why are you making the failures about you? Would you claim the successes as yours? And they were just like, wait, what? And then we had a whole conversation about that
Yeah.
because it's like, it's not different. That's the same thing.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. I thought of another thing too, of how often it's like, my children need to, I want to give my children what I didn't have.
Yeah.
And then whenever you give it to them, they don't appreciate it.
Or
And then
want it.
it's slight on you, right? Or even want it. Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't even want it. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a great example. A friend of mine told me one time, when he grew up, he had teeth that were just massively crooked, but he grew up really poor. Both of his parents were drug addicts. And whenever he had the opportunity to get braces, it meant the world to him. And when his children grew up and he went to go give his kids braces, he thought it was the greatest thing he could possibly give to them. And they fucking hated him.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
Yeah.
why don't you appreciate me? Now, all that bullshit that goes with it, right? How ego driven is that? You don't appreciate me versus it's not what you want.
Well, and then his attachment and the deep meaning that that had for him, of course they would feel the same way in his mind,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
because it was traumatic for him actually.
Right.
You know, I'm not using that, I'm using that term loosely. I'm not saying there was like, but it's just like that was a big deal and it affected his life in a major way.
Hmm.
And then his kids didn't have that same experience, but he like was projecting. I think parents, as parents, we do that. We project our own pains, our own like what we wanted for ourselves but never got, or you know, what we got but didn't want. And then we want to create this perfect little utopia for our children, not realizing that they're unique humans, not exactly like us, and it doesn't work that way. They don't fit into that same like landscape.
Yeah.
But we
How
have an
many?
attachment to undo our stuff, you know?
Yeah. 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 I'm thinking about how many decisions are made based off of how do they see me? You know, like how are other people perceiving me? Or coming from a better than box, I know better. Or coming from a worse than box, like, oh, these people are all better than me. Or it's an I deserve box. I deserve better than this. I'm entitled to whatever it is. And how many decisions are based in that? And that's all ego driven decisions, right?
Right. And then everything you just said that you do for you or within yourself, you also do with others. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's like you should all over everyone else because you're doing that to yourself, or like the people who like get really upset by judgment,
Mm.
they're the people who judge you know, the most. It's like
Right,
I
right. Yeah.
know, I've been there. I do that. I have. It's like
Yeah.
it's so fascinating to me. It's like the things that cause us, I don't know, that we hang up on often seem to be, it's like, well, that's how we're showing up. It's like a mirror. It's being revealed to us. What are you attached to? What are you projecting onto the world? What are you magnifying? What are you bringing close to you? All of those things, and attachment and like circling back to suffering, all of that is like trying to create this perfect utopia that just causes more pain and suffering because it's impossible. You cannot. Life is suffering. Like the number of times I heard that in my Thai massage training from my Thai massage teacher in Thailand. He was just like, life is suffering. Like it is. Like accept that basically. And then go have fun.
Yeah. Well, there's a distinction there. Life is suffering, but we don't have to suffer.
I think to have the expectation to never suffer is it causes more suffering, but to understand that
Absolutely.
you don't have to suffer all the time, that there is reprieve and pause and choice in that
Mm-hmm.
is mind-boggling and beautiful all at the same time.
Yeah. Well, I love that, shit happens
Yeah.
and we cause more shit just by holding on to what we think things should be. Our own self righteousness causes more suffering. I'm thinking about often, how often it is that we end up stuck in suffering whenever we get into the battle of right versus wrong.
Mm.
I'm right, you're wrong, therefore things can't be the way you think they are, so I'm gonna be really, really stuck to how you should be. Oh, and how much pain and suffering that causes.
Duality is hard.
Mhm.
I it's like that right and wrong. It's like what if there's just truth and what if everybody's truth is unique to them? What if that's a thing?
Mhm. Mhm.
What happens to your world or the world if we are more in exploration about that versus trying to find the right thing? The right thing killed me for the first half of my life, if not two-thirds of it so far. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I know I've had my deeply held opinions changed for me so many times as I've grown up that I've gotten to the point to where I have deeply held opinions and I'm more than willing to get curious about them and question them and continuously check to see if they're still true.
Yeah. Yeah. I have those conversations a lot, even just like with my partner. We talk about like God, I really thought that was true. And it turns out it's not. And it's like, it just really, you come to that place of like accepting that. I mean, I literally could be wrong about everything. And also, I'm not going to be like this blank slate. I believe in nothing. So it's like, I'm going
Mhm.
to believe in what feels true and in my integrity today, knowing and understanding and being completely open to it changing. Because it's changed so deeply over time. I mean, the amount of like if I would have like look back at my 20s and think, you know, would you believe that you would believe the things and show up in the way that you do right now at 55 in your early 20s? Hell no. I would have been like, you're nuts. There's no way that's who I'm going to be.
Mhm.
No way.
Yeah.
Humanly impossible. I would have deemed it impossible.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
was too stuck in my pain. I was too stuck in my stuff. I
Mhm.
just couldn't get out of it. I couldn't believe that I could get out of it.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, oh, I love how often we perpetuate our own pain too,
Yeah.
just because that's what I don't know. If I didn't have it, what would I be? Who
Yeah,
would I
that's
be?
all you've ever known.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I dance sometimes with the idea, and I don't know if this is something we can unpack on the mic or not, but I dance with the idea of accountability within all of that. Because when we're in our pain and our suffering and like the victimhood, there's always a scapegoat. There's always someone else to blame. There's always something else to like lean into. That doesn't mean that you have to look at yourself and take accountability. But when you really like get out of the suffering of that and the victimhood of that and step into like you are accountable. You have to be. No matter, I mean, there's nowhere else to look but in. And that I think that's terrifying. And I think for me, that was a thing where it was like, it felt exhausting. I was like, oh my God, it's all on me. Everything is on me. And when you go from victimhood to like that aha moment, there's like a transition in there where you go, I don't even understand how this is possible, which just makes me sound like a lazy crap. But like, I just think I just didn't understand it until I did.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, there's also a huge piece of I just think of the word surrender and letting go.
Yeah.
How important it is to, like you've said it a bunch of times, to go into your inner wise self who's just aware of what is and who is observing what is, and even especially when it comes to observing our own thoughts
Hmm.
and creating that gap between our thought and the reaction that we have to the thought.
Right. And
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in response, which feels like a mindful choice to me versus reaction. I lived a reactive life for way too long and
Mhm.
it did not serve me well. Nor the people in my world for that matter. Not to say there's never a reaction, there is. But I much prefer if I can get myself to that space, the pause, the surrender in the pause so that you can see clearly for the best and highest good, not from my messy self that's in the pain right now, but from the place that like knows that it could be different, that believes it's possible to change or to shift or to offer like hope exists in that place.
Mhm.
But when you're in the stuck in the suck of the suffering and the trauma and the wounds and the victimhood, like there's not a lot of hope in that space.
Mhm.
It feels dismal and dark and impossible. And I'm saying this from my own experience. Like, I'm not claiming this to be everyone's truth. And also, like, my own experience taught me a lot of things about that. And in working with other people, I kind of have yet to meet someone who doesn't experience that same thing in their own unique way.
Mhm.
Why is it so hard to look at ourselves and surrender into who is that really without the attachments, without the pain, without the resistance to change, without, I was going to say without the fear, but that's not true. There's always fear, but like with a different relationship to fear,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah. I think the hardest part is just being aware that we're stuck there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Being aware that we're stuck in, the beliefs that whatever thoughts that we're having, and accepting them to be the truth. You
Yeah,
know?
and I'm not claiming in any way that everyone should want to or needs to move out of wherever they are. I'm saying if your pain is taking you down and life sucks, that's a different thing. Like some
Mhm,
people, like I was good for a while in that. I thought I was. I told myself I was, and then it just turned out to be like it literally wasn't sustainable anymore.
mhm,
Like it wasn't sustainable for me to show up in the world in that way. Something had to change or it was going to go bad quick.
mhm,
It was like a do or die kind of a thing.
mhm. Yeah, I'm thinking about resistance right now, and how resistance, by its very nature, by the laws of physics of the universe, resistance breeds resistance.
Hmm.
Like anytime you try and force something, it's met with resistance just because of physics. And how true it is, even with what we're resisting with our mind. You know,
Yeah.
like if I were to go to somebody and um, try to force them to change their opinion because I hold my opinion so strong, that immediately is going to make somebody hunker down and just really wrap their own opinion around them, and then it's going to be a fight right back. No, you're wrong because I believe this. Um, I'm thinking about that story from the book the other day that I told you about,
Hmm.
the Zen master in Japan, that very, very highly regarded individual. People would come to him all the time for wisdom. And then his next door neighbor had a teenage daughter, and 16 years old, she said, "I'm pregnant. And guess who's the daddy? The Zen master." So the irate parents went and chewed him out top to bottom, left and right. And his response was, "Oh, is that so?" So then the daughter finally has the baby, and then they come to him and say, "You're responsible for this." "Oh, is that so?" And he took care of that baby for a full year, completely lost his reputation. The whole community just all of a sudden forgot that he existed or actively opposed him. "Oh, is that so?" Took care of the baby for a full year before the daughter finally confessed. Yep, it wasn't his baby at all. So they came back to him. "Oh, is that so?" And they took the baby back. And then he got his reputation back, the whole works. But can you imagine what that'd have been like if he'd tried to resist it?
Right. Yeah.
Been a
That's
fight
next
to the
level
end.
human right there. Right? Like
Hmm.
human nature is to defend yourself and to respond in a way because nobody wants to live in untruth, even though we do it all the time.
Hmm.
You know, in how we quote unquote lie to ourselves or tell ourselves these things that are we claim them to be truths but they're not. What if we were to just that's where that observer comes in. It's like just
Hmm.
but yeah, to have that an entire community shun you for a year and then just accept it,
Hmm.
surrender to what's happening, show up in his he showed up in his integrity is how that feels to me.
Hmm.
He made his choice, showed up in his integrity. Doesn't matter what they think. He knows the truth.
Hmm.
How many people do you know in your world that would do that or could do that? You know what I mean? It's like,
Yep.
that's something to think about.
Yep. Yep. Most people would have planted their feet and fought right back.
Yeah.
I can't help but wonder how much better this planet would be if we quit fighting each other.
Oh, I've been thinking that for, I wish we could figure it out. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Hmm.
But I think, honestly, if I like circle that right back into like I'm the center of my universe, like not in an ego way, but like I have to start here. Like how much better would it be if I stopped fighting with myself? How much better would it be if I stopped fighting with my thoughts? How much better would it be if I could like surrender and detach from all these things that I'm claiming as truths that I know damn well aren't, but yet habitually there's a piece in me. There's something energetically, there's something about my beliefs that say it's still true, just a hint of it. There's
Hmm.
still more to get rid of that, and
Hmm.
it's like, what if I don't get rid of it? What if I evolve it? What if I transform it? What if it's possible it's not what I'm deeming it to be and it's actually something else? That feels different to me than I have to get rid of it, or, you know what I mean? I don't
Hmm.
know. It's like
Well,
that
yeah, get
journey.
rid of it has that going to fight it feel to it.
It also feels like it's wrong. And what if at some point there was truth in there, and then saying it's wrong gives us some sort of like that guilt and shame, and that piece of like, this wasn't supposed to be. But it's like, what if it's just evolved and it's different now, and it was true and now it's not? Or maybe it was never true and you believed it, and then I don't know, I think we find the sneakiest ways to beat up on ourselves. And I think that's where it's like finding the compassion within doing this work within yourself and also externally, right? Like, how much less fighting would there be if we could just show up and flipping compassion? It's hard.
Hmm. Oh yeah, it's one of the hardest
I think
things we can do.
I think about how mean I can be to myself, and I think
Mm.
I can't even be nice to myself. How the fuck am I supposed to be nice to, to the world? But I showed up for like, I mean, I showed up so long for like claiming that I was being nice to the world at the expense of myself, and it's like, I don't think I was nice to anyone.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. I'm thinking about how often to be truly kind to somebody. I don't like the nice word, but to
Yeah,
be
me
truly
either.
kind to somebody, it requires that we do something that doesn't seem nice.
Sometimes, many times, if not most times. Yeah. Well, and if you start really unpacking that, even just in how you show up every day, like you, like me, you, collectively, like every
Yeah, yeah.
individual, the amount of times that what we deem as kind has some little element of dirty to it. It's about you somewhere,
Hmm.
you know? For it to be freely given without a string attached or an expectation or some sort of validation expected as a reciprocal exchange. That's pretty rare. It's hard to find. And maybe that makes, I don't know, maybe that's not a fair statement. Maybe my world is filled with much more of that. But early in my life, that was extremely hard to find because I didn't give it.
Hmm. Hmm. I love what you said because I didn't give it.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've repeated that statement to my kids of, if you want love, you give it. If you want kindness, you give it first. If you want respect, you give it first.
And start here in your
Hmm.
internal
Yeah.
landscape. That's the best place to start.
Yep. Yep. Now we're talking about separating ourselves from our thoughts again, because
Yeah. Yeah.
how often do we have that automatic thought of, I'm not enough, or I screwed up and now I'm a piece of shit, or whatever it is. Like, why can't I do better? I'm so
Yeah.
broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember who I was talking to. You said automatic negative thoughts, which is ants. I was talking to
Mhm.
someone. I'm gonna have to go back and find it. I don't think it was you. They were talking about negative unconscious thoughts. I'm like, nuts. That's better than ants. I like nuts better. Negative unconscious thoughts. Gosh, I don't remember who I was talking to. It was great. Oh, I think it was Brandon. I think it was Brandon Bonanza. I was like, dude, you just changed ants to me, and nuts is way more fun.
Yeah. Yeah. You can take that all kinds of places.
I know.
How many times do we
It's
teabag
appropriate.
ourselves?
And it's just appropriate because it is what we're talking about, is all that kind of stuff. That's just so not cool. But yet part of life. It just is. We're
Mhm.
gonna have the negative unconscious thoughts. We're gonna have the automatic negative thoughts. It's gonna happen.
Yep. Yep.
But
I've
I
been
th- I
playing.
think of all this
Mm.
stuff we're talking about as like going to the gym and building muscle, right? Like it doesn't just happen like in one thought. Oh, I'm gonna do that different. Cool. Not one thought, not one intention. It's like, you know, you got to build it.
Yep.
I'm sorry I interrupted you. You were about to say something at the same time I started.
I lost it.
I'm sorry.
But A way to go to the gym, though, did pop up for me after you said that, and that just to increasingly throughout the day become more aware of our breath
Mhm.
and how that trains the consciousness to be aware of what is. Um, it doesn't have to be your 10-minute meditation. It could be just throughout the day you be aware of one or two breaths, and
Yeah.
but do that frequently. And the more frequently you do it, then it's like doing a rep again and again and again. You get stronger and stronger at becoming aware of what is.
Well, and I don't think we really put a whole lot of thought or mindfulness around how the layers can really make a difference. Because like mind, body, spirit, if you think about like all three of those things,
Hmm.
I feel like our thoughts, like if my breath is super shallow and up in my chest, that is anxiety producing.
Yep.
But if I want to release some of that anxiety, I'm not saying it works every time, but I can change my breath. But I also notice that when I'm in anxiety, shallow breathing, my thoughts get different. Whereas if I'm in
Hmm.
this like calm, so it's physical, it's energetic, it's mind, body, spirit, it's all of that like wrapped into one package and the layers that happen within it. Like I think sometimes we just think, oh, my thoughts are so crazy. Why are they so crazy? Well, have you slept? How much caffeine are you drinking?
Hmm.
Have you taken a breath that isn't just up shallow in your chest and throat? Have you like taken a deep belly breath that is like calm and complete? Because many times we don't even take a complete inhale and exhale. And everybody talks about the breath and like, oh, it's not that simple. It's like, I know it's not that simple. And also, it can sometimes be that simple.
Yeah. Well, it's a piece of the puzzle, along with
Yeah.
like, are you eating highly inflammatory food,
Right.
specifically highly refined sugars and or fried food? Eat that kind of
Yeah.
stuff and watch how your thoughts take off and how hard it
Yeah.
is to control it. Because just the inflammation that it fires up in your body really doesn't feel like it's okay.
Right.
Like you're poisoning me, fucker.
And it's all connected. It's all linked
Mhm.
in. So if your body is going zzz, zzz, your thoughts are also going zzz, zzz.
Yeah.
It's just like that's how it works.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They have a word for that in I think it's Chinese medicine or acupuncture somewhere. I don't remember exactly. I'm not an expert in all that, but they call it fire, like fire in the body. And whenever you translate it over and really look at it, what they're talking about is inflammation,
Hmm.
which I thought was really cool. That they knew that a long time before science did over here in the West.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mind, body, spirit. Love it.
Yeah. And I just go to the place of that pause or the gap or whatever you want to call it with all of it. Just like, what if you just look from a different, like a different angle, a different perspective, a different distance, even. Like you're too close, you can't see, or you're too far away. You're always looking off over the horizon. But like, is there a different sweet spot that you could try? And it depends on what your normal pattern is. Try something new and different. See if a little space helps, or see if a little bit
Mhm.
closer helps, depending on where you live naturally in
Yeah.
the now. And what is your sweet spot in like the from the paused neutral, kind and loving perspective?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you said that because it reminded me of how often I'm a dreamer. I'm a visionary, and I always have a great vision for what the future could hold.
Mm.
But yet I become attached to that vision, and whenever that vision does not become true, I get the longer I go between having the vision and making the vision go true, the more upset, the more in turmoil, the more anxious that I get because I'm so attached to what I want that vision to look like. And I've fairly recently just switched to, all right, I am going to work towards a better future, but I'm going to give up the need for it to be different right now.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how unbelievably liberating that has been.
Yeah. And the other thing I heard in what you were saying and describing the dream and the forward, the future, it's like, are you deeming it a failure if you don't hit it exactly the way you're attached to it looking? You know what I mean? I think we do that. I
Yep.
think, what if we dream without expectations and without attachments? What does that look like? How does it change it? Does it change it? Is it even possible? You know? I think that's a pretty cool. And then just to accept, like, this is my reality and my truth today, radically accepting that, and then moving from there. What's my next step? Where am I going? And still keeping the dream here. It can stay, or here, you know? It gets to live there. And also, does it have to fuck you up completely? Could it just be a little more fluid?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. There's a couple of really good places to go if you want to be miserable. That's to be that's to be stuck in the future or stuck in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, and stuck is the key word there. Because I think
Mhm.
reflecting on the past or forward thinking to the dreaming about the future can be a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes in this landscape, in like the world that we're talking about, it can be deemed as like, no, you have to be in the present. It's the only place there's joy. And it's like, really though? I mean, yes, I understand. I get it. And also, I have a hell of a lot of fun dreaming when it's just like, when there's not attachments, when I'm not putting expectations upon
Yep.
myself, when I'm not making it heavy and pressured and like putting it into a box. But when
Mhm.
it's fluid and free flowing, and I understand that for me, there's a divine order, there's a divine plan, a divine purpose here, and there might be an outcome that I can't even possibly fathom right now.
Mhm.
That's going to be even better than my human self can even dream up in this present moment. But what if it could be even better than what I'm even hoping for or dreaming about? That doesn't even become something possible if I'm completely attached and stuck to it looking exactly like this container on this shelf on this date with this plan. You know, it's a very different thing. I don't know. That surrender is a freaking beautiful thing, and it's so fucking hard.
So fucking hard indeed.
Yeah. Worth every ounce of effort. Which is
Absolutely.
funny to say effort about surrender. That just makes me laugh. That's like the biggest oxymoron.
Yep.
Surrender takes so much effort. It really doesn't. You're doing it wrong. Oh, wait, there's not a wrong. If that's your truth, let's explore.
Yeah. Well, practice, I think, would be a better word to put there, right? It's not
Yeah,
really
yeah,
effortful, but we do have to consciously practice it.
yeah, yeah. I think, I think for me, one of the biggest gifts was like recognizing that the mindfulness, it didn't actually restrict me. It gave me more choice.
Mm.
But the accountability that came with that felt scary at first. I was in my learned helplessness, like I can't fail perfectionist mode at first, and that's what made it impossible to like surrender and embrace the possibilities of what it could really mean. So like that dance in between those two for me was extremely torturous. It was
Mm.
very torturesome and like
Mhm.
it was an interesting journey, and I'm not even saying it's I've got it mastered, but I'm saying it's a hell of a lot better than it ever used to be.
Mhm.
And you know, just even one lane of it being successful or doing something positive for you makes it easier to try again
Mhm.
because you get that it is possible. It can change things, and there's even more hope than you even realized, and that's pretty freaking amazing.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Uh,
Are we surrendering our way out of this episode?
yeah, no, that's what I was about to say. I ain't got
Yeah.
nothing left to say after that. Just mic drop. Done.
Such a fun conversation. I love um well, I love all
Yeah.
of our conversations, but this what we talked about today is like legit how my whole life changed.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
This will be my second go around of playing with this particular idea. I lost it for a while.
Mm.
Um, and the first time I found it, I was like, "Oh, life's gonna be fucking amazing from here on out." And life came back around and smacked me in the face again, like it
Mhm.
does. And then I just slowly but surely lost the idea of surrender, lost the idea of um, just letting go, and in doing so, managed to get myself stuck into just an ever downward spiral of more and more anxiety, depression, just not functioning well. Just I don't know, getting stuck in those thoughts of I need things to be different than they are.
Mhm.
And that's what I would wake up with. That's what I'd go to bed with every day. Like, I am going to work very, very hard to create a different future. And that future needs to be now. And just kept me stuck in a downward spiral. And then finally one day something clicked. It's like, whoa, look, I'm back here again. Well, this sucks. I don't want this anymore. I think I'm going to go ahead and surrender again
Yeah.
and let go of my need for things to be different. And that's really what it boils down to. I had a very deeply held need for things to be different than they are. And that attachment to that need caused a whole lot of mental anguish.
Yeah, and I think it makes it impossible to actually do something that creates something different.
Hmm.
Because you just get stuck in the need for it to be different, but you don't have capacity or brain space
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
think
Yeah.
about what that step to make it different might
Yeah,
be.
yeah, it's a full survival mode. It's
Yeah.
if it's not different, then I am not going to be okay. Then I'm not going to survive.
Yeah.
And that just activates all the sympathetic nervous system, full on fight or flight, full on freeze. In many cases, I sit down behind my desk to do some work and it just completely freeze. Uh,
Yeah.
I've been getting some really cool shit done lately after letting go.
I love it. Good
All
for
right,
the
Jen.
soul shit.
Yeah. All right, we're really going to go away now.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Okay, bye bye. Love you. Thank you for listening to That's a Great Point with Alina Doran, Michelle Albers, and Lee Smart. To find out more about how we can serve you, check out our links in the show description. Thanks for playing along.